Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Island Uncharted, old and young alike. First off, I just want to give you guys a big shout out for the subs, the likes, the comments. I'm sitting here on the top of a mountain beside a rock that came from the moon. Oh, it stinks. A stinky mushroom. Stay out of the camera, Charles. Hi, camera. On this video, we're going to be searching for the elusive pine mushroom, the Matsutake as the Japanese would call them. When I started this video, I had no idea, zero idea about picking pines. So over the last 2 weeks, I've invested a lot of my time, blood, sweat, and tears in the art of locating the pine mushroom. So over the course of the last 2 weeks, I've learned a lot about the pine mushroom. So I'm going to condense this all into about a 15-minute video showing you what I've learned and save you some time. And to be honest, it's been ups and downs. It's been tough. I've gone from the ocean to the mountaintops, through the swamps, and to chest-high salal. So you don't have to. So stick around, watch the video. All right, so here we are. The sun was just out, it was super nice. We were out here all day trying to find some pines, trying to get on them. I'm not a very experienced pine picker, but my buddy Rob here knows what he's doing. We're driving up the road, checked a few spots, nothing. I looked out of the blue and I seen one on the side of the bank. So we know we're in the right spot. We've started doing a couple little excavations. Problem is that it's a really prickly area and we're in a giant puddle of water. I know there's a whole bunch more, but the trail keeps going. Hell yeah. So these mushrooms, they're actually quite difficult to extract, especially here being we had a good rain the last couple days. So you kind of go on and give them a good couple wiggles and you'll hear them kind of crack loose. Once you hear that cracking noise, you're probably safe to extract the mushroom. So when you're picking pines, what you're really after is the small button type mushrooms, something that kind of looks like this. You'll see the veil on the bottom is still completely closed. These are the most sought after. They're what they call number one. The bigger they get, they start to open up. They'll look something more along the lines of this. They start to become less and less desirable as the mushroom grows. We're going to talk a lot more in this video about how to find your own pines. This was kind of an exploratory adventure for us today. Chanterelle season where I live is basically over. We went out to a really good spot and we picked the last remaining chanterelles. So our focus now is completely going to be focused on the Matsutake pine mushroom. All right, so when you're out here searching for pine mushrooms, there's a few things you want to take into consideration. One of the most important is the type of forest environment that you're actually in. So in terms of trees, we're looking for a number of different types of trees. We're looking for Douglas fir, pine trees, as well as western hemlock. And then in regards to soil and type of forest floor environment, coniferous forests are always number one. The pine mushrooms typically like a sandy, nutrient deficient type of soil with good drainage. So if you can find all those kind of elements in the same place, chances are you will find some pine mushrooms. So when you're foraging for pine mushrooms, it's a totally different ballgame. From my experience with pines, are quite a bit more difficult to find than the chanterelles. It's only in the last few years that I've really actually been trying to learn how to actually become a better pine mushroom forager. So a couple years back I found one or two here and there. Last year I found one or two. This year I feel like I've definitely leveled up my game. One thing that should be noted is when you're looking for these types of mushrooms, it's a totally different hunt, so to speak. So once you find the right type of terrain, you know what you're looking for, you got the right trees, you got all the right variables that are gonna make your hunt successful. The actual tactic that I have found was the best over these 2 weeks was to walk the trails, walk the hillsides, and just look for that first mushroom poking up out of the ground. Once you find one, you know, same kind of thing with a chanterelle, chances are there's probably more. Dig around in the duff, move some pine needles. Pick responsibly though. Don't leave giant banks just absolutely ravaged of moss. It looks terrible. So what I like to do is I'll check a small area. If I don't find anything, I'll put the moss back, you know, make it look like it was before I got there. What I'm really looking for is what they call a flag. A flag is typically a part of the moss or the duff where it's protruding. It'll look like, you know, a rock covered by moss, so something of that sort. Flags can be a bit more challenging. Once you find it, you identify it as a pine, chances are there's gonna be more there as they're a mycorrhizal organism. Dig around in the duff, move some pine needles, check out that area that you're in. And it'll lift the pine needles and you'll be able to see a distinct kind of something's erupting from the soil. When you find a spot like that, that's where you're gonna wanna stop. You're gonna wanna look around because where the big mushrooms are, there will typically be smaller button type mushrooms as well. I'm not sure if this is coincidental or not, but all the pine mushrooms I found this year were on the side of a hill, and they're all located in relative proximity to a boulder. So here I am on the train tracks where I find this massive boulder, and there's a lot of slope here. So I'm gonna probably start my search somewhere in this vicinity. So one of the super cool things about not finding any mushrooms is you can take your bucket and you got yourself a seat at least while you enjoy the view of the lake. I'm joined here today with my friend Rob and this guy named John. You guys might remember John. He's not actually dead.
I'm back, baby.
Nice. So we're out here way in the middle of nowhere today looking for pines. We just got here, we're already on them. This is gonna be a great day, so stick around and enjoy the video.
There's a whole bunch in here, man.
Oh, look at that rotter. They're kind of tricky to get out sometimes, right? It's like, all right, so all morning we've been road hunting for pines. We decided that it may not be the best tactic here. Rob assures me that pines actually grow in the forest. Is that true, Rob?
Yes, they do grow in the bush.
Yeah.
The only ones I've ever found were on the side of the road, so these boys are gonna prove me wrong here today. We're gonna gear up, we're gonna get our stuff together, and we're going to head deep into the forest. All right, so we've all kind of split up here. We're working this hillside. Three of us, we're gonna stay some distance apart, obviously, to cover more ground. There's definitely a lot of mushrooms here. Beautiful forest floor, covered in moss. Super nice forest. Here we have some winter chanterelles, also known as yellow feet. And if I'm not mistaken, they're actually not a chanterelle. They're also quite edible. There has been a lot of them this year. See if I can get one out and actually show you the foot. Yeah, so you see here, the bottom is very yellow, hence the name, the yellowfoot. Not a pine, but I made a really good find here. Absolutely beautiful cauliflower mushroom. First one I found all year. It's gonna take some finesse to harvest this specimen. Sweet, into the bucket. It's been confirmed. Pine mushrooms, they live in the forest.
See, buddy, we told you they do live in the forest.
Crazy stump.
What is it?
Trumpet.
Trumpet mushroom. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about here is what type of areas to find these mushrooms, trees, soil types aside. When I was young, I was always told that the pine mushrooms grew way at the top of the highest mountain. And I believed that for years and years and years. Until recently, I was out in Tofino, driving down a road, gravel, dirt road, back road type road, and I found my first pine sitting right there on the side of the road. So during the course of these 2 weeks, like I said, I've been to lakes, I've been to mountaintops, I've been to fields of salal, I've been to the ocean, and I've had mixed results. But what I did seem to find that was consistent was higher elevations seem to typically have more pines. When I say higher elevation, anywhere from 13 to about 1,600 feet in elevation. Also, sea level is good. For the first 2 or 3 days we were making this video, the only pines we'd actually find were growing on the side of the road, on the banks, once again with good drainage. They can be found pretty much everywhere, but my 2 recommendations, up top of the mountain, down low by the sea. Just got to the top of the hill here. Pretty sure I heard a deer grunt. So you've joined the cauliflower club. We got 3 cauliflowers and about 6 pines. We just hiked all the way up to the top of the mountain up there. I was actually filming a mushroom and I spooked a deer. Jumped out from under the windfall. Scared the living heck out of me. We're gonna move on. We're not finding a whole lot of mushrooms here. We're gonna head down the hill a little bit and kind of throw a Hail Mary pass and see if we can find. We did pretty good today. 3 cauliflowers. It's not that often that happens, so it was a good day. Day 52 of the pine mushroom hunt. No, just kidding. It kind of feels like 52 days. This has been a real battle, you guys, this season, trying to learn how to harvest pine mushrooms. I've climbed to the tops of mountains. I have waded through seas of salal. I've been to the ocean, through caves. All kinds of crazy places that people just don't go. The mushroom total is probably only at about 15, 20 pounds of pines. A little discouraged. I've actually hiked up here. I just walked through a mountaintop of probably shoulder high salal. Really discouraged, but behind me we have look at the size of this thing. It's huge. Probably weighs a good 4 pounds. Spider on the bottom. That is a crazy mushroom. All right, another thing I just want to go over real quick. I'm not sure if there's any scientific merit or base to this, but from my experience over these 2 weeks, what I've found is when you find pine mushrooms, there are very different species of other mushrooms around. For example, if I'm in an area with the chanterelles, I haven't found a single pine mushroom in that type of terrain. That being said, when I do find amanita or lobsters, I will typically find a pine or two in that type of environment. I'm not sure if there's any merit to that, any scientific base, but from my experience, that's what I've found. Probably the biggest mushroom I've ever found. I mean, this is a 5-gallon bucket I have in my hand I'm about to show you. The mushroom circumference is almost that of the 5-gallon bucket. Slimy. So yeah, aside from finding the king of the mushrooms on the top of the Salal Hill, I'm getting a little frustrated, to be honest. I've been driving around all day, just like getting out of the Jeep, going in the bush. One thing I don't like is giving up. So I'm gonna give it one more go here today. I'm gonna head to the top of a place I call Potato Mountain. Just roll the dice, see what happens. So one thing I've actually figured out this year is that hedgehog mushrooms are very tasty. They could in fact be my new #1 mushroom as far as edibility. I've only cooked with them once. My daughter loved them, I love them. I actually prefer them over chanterelles. I finally found the pines. I'm on to them. I found 2 here in this one spot. I can see a few more. Hopefully this will be a good spot for today. Just goes to show persistence is good. I was about to give up and here I am, and we'll see what we get here. Looks pretty good. Ah, spider. No, 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 no. Persistence. So one of the biggest problems I find with harvesting pines is that when you find a couple, I think a lot of people tend to spend a long time in the same place, just searching everywhere. And I'm starting to kind of figure out that that's probably not the best plan. So when I find a mushroom now, what I do is I give it maybe 5 minutes. Maybe that's even too much. I can definitely see 2 really nice pines here. There's a giant right by my bucket. Oh. All right, gonna save the best one for last here. I wonder if this is actually a pine. It's huge. Holy crap, that's a pine mushroom. Oh wow. A little past its prime, but I think I found my pine spot. Just sitting here in the dirt. That pine is the size of my head. Sweet, I just found another nice score of pines here. Found about a whole bucket of pines up there. I was only up there for probably 45 minutes. So I'm gonna have to come back here with some friends, need some help. So it just goes to show, you know, you can spend a whole day finding nothing, and then, you know, you just go to that one random spot where you least expect, and lo and behold, a whole bucket. So I'm gonna come back here the next day or two and see what we can find. So I found this dinosaur bone. Pretty sure it's actually from an elk. It's almost petrified. I mean, it's old. It's got moss growing on it. I found this giant, I'm not sure of the species, but it's bigger than my head. I found a 2.5 pound pine mushroom, which is also almost as large as my head. Super cool Harry Potter kind of wand thing for my kid. Whatever he says. All right, so another important thing to discuss here in terms of hunting pine mushrooms is associated flora. There's a rumor, a legend, I'm not sure if it's true, I've read this online, but the candy stick flower, it's a really odd looking plant. I'll show you a picture, I'll put it right here on the screen. That name is right there, something Vergata, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm not sure, in my 2 weeks of exploring these areas, looking for these mushrooms, I've found a number of the candy stick flowers, but I've never found any pine mushrooms in that general vicinity. If you've had experience with this before and know more than I do, please feel free to leave it below in the comments. Number 3. How's it going, buddy?
Proud of you.
All right, so here I am, last day of the video. I'm gonna call it done. Back to the spot where I was yesterday. There's pines everywhere. We stumbled across a very productive spot. Oh, dude, that's a nice one. That one's a beauty. Oh, that's the number one.
Soft and airy through here. There's probably a whole bunch of here.
Charles found some pines here. We're in a really good spot right now. He's standing on them. Oh, it's like off a mushroom.
Chanterelles real quick, I think. That's a nice one.
I am an official pine mushroom hunting person. We got a whole bucket in about, how long was that?
An hour.
An hour maybe? Yeah, and there's probably lots more, but I'm done. I just want to learn how to pick pines, and I've succeeded in that goal. Thank you for watching the video to the end. Stick around, and I will see you on the next one.